Let the record reflect it is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021 at 6:34 p.m. Meeting is being conducted pursuant to the Governor Pritzker's Disaster Proclamation and Public Act 101-0640, which amends requirements of the Open Meetings Act due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Pursuant to the same, the village board finds that it would be impractical to conduct an in-person meeting with all members present. I ask at this time, elected officials confirm they can hear one another. President Vandenberg? Absent. Clerk Therian?
Loud and clear.
Trustee Berg?
I can hear you.
Trustee Brady?
I can hear you.
Trustee Brennan?
I can hear you.
Trustee Galante?
I can hear.
Trustee Mueller?
I can hear you.
Thank you. All the materials for this meeting are available on the village's website. We recommend the members and the public follow the agenda as posted. After members have spoken, I will forward public comment as follows. Once I, the chair, have a list of all public commenters, I will call on each person present at the meeting and afford them 3 minutes for their comment. Further time up to an additional 3 minutes may be granted by motion of the village board. The public was also provided the opportunity to submit a request until noon today by email to the clerk's office at tinleypark.org or by placing the written request in the drop box at the village hall to participate publicly via a live telephone call at the relevant portion of the public meeting. The public was provided the opportunity to submit written comments until noon today by emailing their public comments to the clerk's office at tinleypark.org or by placing their written comments in the drop box at Village Hall. Written comments will not be read aloud. And finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Berg.
Here.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Brennan.
Present.
Trustee Galante.
Here.
Trustee Glatz.
Present.
Trustee Mueller.
Here.
President Vandenberg. Absent.
Item number 2. Consider approval of the minutes of the special committee of the whole meeting held on March 11th and March 16th, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Mike. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3, receive a presentation of the fiscal year 2020 audit by Andrew Brown.
Good evening, thank you. Each year, the village is required to have an annual audit. The annual audit for the fiscal year ending April 30th of 2020 was delayed this year and impacted by the COVID pandemic, and our ability to get it done in our normal timely fashion was impacted due to having to reevaluate how these processes went, being as most of the field work was done in person within 6 feet. So again, we did our best to pull that together with the resources we had, and we were able to get that report out to the board in its final draft, its final status on March 26th. The village did receive an unmodified opinion, which is the highest opinion you can receive for such an audit. As part of the requirements, the auditors for the village are required to give a presentation to the village board on the audit. At this time, I'd like to invite Anthony Cervini from Sikich to come up and give said presentation to the board.
Thank you, Andrew. Good evening, everyone. I'll just make a few brief remarks on a few of the reports that we've issued. We've issued several reports as part of the audit process. The comprehensive annual financial report, the largest of those documents, that's what's required to be submitted to the state comptroller on an annual basis, also required to be submitted this year to the federal audit clearinghouse, as the village did expend greater than $750,000 of federal funds. Within the comprehensive annual financial report, page 1 of that document is the independent auditor's report. Pleased to present, as Andrew noted, we've issued a clean, unmodified opinion on the village's financial statements as of and for your fiscal year ended April 30th, 2020. As always, the financial statements are the responsibility of the village and village management for that. Our responsibility is to express that opinion do want to commend you on receipt of that unmodified opinion. Also within the comprehensive annual financial report on page MD&A 1, you'll find the beginning of the management's discussion and analysis. The management's discussion and analysis is a brief, high-level summary of information presented within the comprehensive annual financial report. One of the great tools about the management discussion and analysis, or MD&A, however, is it includes information both from the current year as well as the prior year, and in my opinion, most valuably, management's explanations for why those figures have changed from one year to the next. So it provides some context behind the numbers that you see within the comprehensive annual financial report. From there, if you turn to page 10, within page 10 is the governmental funds balance sheet. Looking at the major funds, your general fund, the village's main operating fund as of April 30th, 2020. General fund had a fund balance at year end of $27.7 million, which is approximately 60% of your general fund expenditures for fiscal year 2020. So a healthy fund balance reserve in your general fund as of April 30th. From there, I'll just highlight for you, page 72 of that report is information related to the village's funding progress for the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, as well as the Police Pension Fund. As of December 31st, 2019, which is the information available at the time of issuance, the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund was funded at just under 86% funded, a very healthy funded ratio for a defined benefit pension plan. I know the 2020 numbers are in the process of being issued. We'd expect that ratio to increase even further based on market performance for calendar year 2020. Last, within the comprehensive annual financial report on the following page, the police pension fund as of April 30th, 2020 had just a slight decrease as of April 30th in the funded status there, went from 73 to 69.3%. However, take into account that this was really at the onset of the pandemic as of April 30th there. The market has obviously made significant gains since then, so we would expect that the April 30th, 2021 funded ratio for the police pension plan will likely see the decrease removed and likely see an increase in that funded status would be the expectation for the plan. The other item I'll note for you just this evening is we also issued a separate report titled the Independent Auditor's Report Pursuant to the Uniform Guidance, or also known as the Single Audit Report. This is a report that's required as, again, the village expended greater than $750,000 of federal funds during the year. Page 8 of that document has a great summary for you there. It provides what's called the summary of auditor's results there. Again, noting the unmodified opinion, noting that we've also noted no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies during our audit, as well as no material non-compliance during our audit as well. The COVID-19 Coronavirus Relief Fund was the major program for the year, constituted about $721,000 of the $1.1 million of federal expenditures for the village for the year, or about 64%. So coverage ratio required to be 40%, so tested well above and beyond what was required there based on the COVID funding. With that, I would just like to thank the village for opportunity to present the results this evening. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Anyone on the board have any questions for him?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 4, discuss resolution authorizing year-end transfers. Andrew?
Thank you, Trustee Glatz. This evening, before you is the annual resolution authorizing the year-end transfers. These transfers in the resolution are static amounts that we use kind of as a coverage number for essentially our budget surplus performance. This is something that we've done on an annual basis. This is the method in which we fund our capital reserves. So again, this is not anything new. These numbers are not what will be transferred. They are up to amounts because these transfers are viewed as expenditures out of one fund and will be revenues to the other fund. So therefore, we need the board's authority to make these transfers at the end of every year because we do not budget these transfers ahead of time. We We operate within our fiscal year, and whatever the culmination comes of that, we make the transfers up to these amounts in those cases, and I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have regarding this resolution.
Sandra, anyone have any questions for him?
I have a question. Do you, did we usually come back and with the, exact amount to go back to the board? Did we- I thought
Last year we did not, but the exact amounts would be reflected in our, in the budget. So for the actual numbers that we did transfer, we'd have those amounts available, and we can source them out of our general ledger system. So you could find it in the audit or in the following year's budget
So
document.
it's always just, when it comes to the board, it's just a not to exceed?
Correct. We've tried to make this resolution evergreen, so it's not bouncing, all over the place. Why is it higher one year than the other, when it's simply the surplus that's been derived from our operations from that fiscal year.
So basically, it's anything over gets transferred out, anything over revenue?
Correct, yeah. We make sure that we stay within fiscal policy for those funds, so that we have a fund balance in those funds that meets our fiscal policy, and then the excess goes over to fund our capital reserve for the appropriate associated funds, as it would be.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion. Got a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please? Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Kristen. Number 5, discuss amendment to Resolution 2021-R-011, authorizing a proposal with Van Bruggen Signs for the purchase of a digital Jumbotron sign.
Thank you. Several weeks ago, the board had discussed and approved a new Jumbotron sign for the convention center. After the approval, it was discovered that the electrical requirements were not sufficient for the sign that was approved. We would need to spend significant dollars in order to upsize that. So we discussed some alternatives with the convention center managers, and what we're recommending is essentially that we install a 16 millimeter sign rather than 10, which would be compatible with the current electric service. It actually would be a couple $1,000s cheaper. John and I actually went and looked at some signs on roadways in the area. Really, there's no significant difference in terms of what a car or somebody would see in a car driving by for just a few seconds. So we're asking the board if they could just amend the resolution that was approved several weeks ago to approve a new sign. It would, again, be at $119,540, which is a couple $1,000s cheaper than what was approved in early March.
Thanks, Dave. Any questions?
Just one question. Obviously, that electrical line has been there since they built it originally, okay? Would that be a problem down the line, that maybe that needs to be upgraded, that the power source, things rust out, wear out, animals get to it, whatever?
So the current power service comes from a transformer that's adjacent to the Even Hotel replaced sign. And then at that location, it's a 100-amp electrical service underground that feeds that. And then that feeds the sign for the convention center. The 100-amp service sign is, perfectly sufficient for the two that it is servicing. It is ran in underground rigid conduit. As of, what we saw, it did not look like it needed any updating. But based on the power demands of the higher definition sign is where the discussion of the power upgrade came into play.
Oh, okay. Thank you. My second question, Dave, who controls that sign? Is it just the convention center, or would we have some input if we wanted to put something special on there?
Well, the answer is that they run it, but, the agreement we made with them is that they would advertise our village events in downtown, and certainly we have the right, and we definitely want to use it, especially with our, new branding and when the
Right,
plaza
right.
gets going. So, yeah, that's part of the benefit. This is obviously right off I-80, and so it'll be advertisement for our events as well as obviously what's going on at the convention center.
Okay, thank you.
Will,
I'll make a motion for the amendment.
One sec,
Oh, you
sorry,
right?
Cindy.
Sorry.
Will Donna and Jason have access to that, or they have to go through them?
I mean, we'll have to go through them, but we'll have to set up a system where they, where they'll essentially have to, get them to put it on.
Thanks. Sorry, Cindy.
Oh, no problem, go ahead.
And real quick, just for the record too, it just says staff recommends purchasing the 10mm sign, just so it reflects correctly.
I'm sorry.
It, in,
Last
is
line.
that-
On the
yeah,
board
last
packet,
line.
is there a mistake? Or is that what you mean?
Talk about the ordinance?
No, the ordinance is correct. It's the second line, it's the last line in the second paragraph in the memo.
Oh, yep, you're right. Yes, good catch.
Go ahead, Diane.
Donna, I just wanted to see if, back when I was on the branding, there was a big push for the, working with the businesses on live music, and Dan was updating that. That's, would still be going on, or was that sign, that he was gonna be posting the different music venues? They had live music going on.
We actually do have a system in place. We have been using the existing sign for some time. Obviously, the last year, there hasn't been very much going on.
Right.
We do promote all of our events and everything on there. As far as the businesses, we, depending on, if there's a, I will share a policy with you.
Oh.
Go ahead, Cindy. Seems like
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
it's all yours.
I'll make a motion to amend the resolution 2020-R-11 from March 27th to move to the board meeting tonight.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Mike. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
yes,
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Kristen. Item number 6, discuss sign grant for MedPro Health Providers, 16820 Oak Park Avenue. Kimberly, you taking that?
Good evening. Thank you. I'm here today to present the sign grant for our newest property owner here for MedPro Health Providers. They were before the village board and ECC a few months back for actually a code compliance grant. It's a single-family home that the new owner is converting to what we call a mixed-use building. The first floor will be occupied by their professional office, and they'll be converting a apartment upstairs. That requires the property to be sprinkled, and that wasn't something it had, so hence they utilized the grant for the sprinkler system. But now here today, they're looking for an attractive sign to reflect the business that will be occupying there. It's a ground mounted sign, complies with all of our requirements, and they went to the ECC at the March 8th meeting, and they did vote unanimously to recommend approval. And the initial request was for about $1,900 based on the quote provided by a local sign company, but since the meeting, they had to make some slight changes, so hence in the memo, you'll see why there's a little bit of a difference in the original request, but talking to the chairman at the ECC, didn't think it was a big deal. So the amount did increase slightly to now $2,375 for the grant amount. This is still well beyond, still well below the maximum amount per property, which is $70,000. The property in total, if it receives the grants, will only receive about $17,872. So staff is looking to ask the committee of the whole to bring this forward to the village board tonight, this evening, to approve the grant not to exceed $2,375 for the installation of a monument sign at 16820 Oak Park Avenue.
Thanks, Kimberly. Any questions?
I think it's a great help to a local business, so happy to see it.
Great.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to move to tonight's village board meeting.
Second it.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Bill. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
yes,
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, discuss water rate increase. Who's gonna take the water?
No one wants this one.
Dave, Brad, Andrew?
Not all at once.
Bad news coming.
Go get it, Brad.
No.
Who lost? Brad lost.
You got the short straw.
He's not up for reelection.
Back a few years ago, as you probably recall, we replaced all of our water meters in conjunction with the issues that had been raised with regard to the Severn Trent meters that had been in service, and we wanted to get them out of the system as quickly as possible, which would normally a meter replacement program would be staged out over a 4 or 5 year cycle, but we wanted to do it as quickly as possible, which actually we would not have been able to do it from the funds available in the water and sewer fund at that time. But the board opted to fund it internally through our other capital reserves, with the stipulation that the water fund would repay it in the future. And so now that installation is basically complete, and so it becomes time to put that together to start repaying those costs. So that it will, and we have a water rate increase coming June 1st from the city of Chicago, that every June 1st, the water rate, our supply rate increases by the rate of inflation from Chicago, and so it's an opportune time to if we might make an adjustment, it's the right time to do it. So we're looking at that and saying we're going to start the repayment of the water meters in this program with this increase coming up in June, and in order to do that, the math works out to about 50 cents extra onto the water rates.
Thanks, Brad. Any questions?
When's the last time that was raised? Is it every June, or is this,
Chicago's rate increases every June, yes.
and ours?
Ours, we have not made an adjustment to our rates since 2014.
Oh, okay.
We had in 2009 we had done a comprehensive water rate study and established a rate schedule that went out for 5 years. So that carried us up through 2014. Now, as there's adjustments with our supply costs from either Chicago or from Oak Lawn, those automatically pass through. So there's no additional action required, except, so we have not done anything for ourselves since 2014.
Yeah.
And again, even there, we will be doing another water rate study shortly, and there'll be an additional adjustment that will come out of that as well. Because inflation during this intervening period has chewed into the margins that we have for operating and maintaining our system. So,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Anyone want to make a motion for his water increase?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Bills. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glass.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Brad, for doing such a good job on that. Number 8, discuss police department simulcast radio upgrade phase 1. That could be Pat Carr or Matt Walsh, or John Urbanski.
All right, thank you, sir. As a main operational function of the police department's activities, the radio system receives annual maintenance checks in response to an increase of issues that have been compared to our standard of reliability. Staff requested an updated review and recommendation. In response to the findings and research to better improve the system coverage and operation, it led our engineering team to look into a multi-site, which is also known as a simulcast system. In conjunction with the findings, we have other items that we are looking to update to newer technology. One of the items includes the ability to allow migration to P25, which is a digital operation in the future, to begin a phased approach of these improvements, respective of the reductions. We are recommending purchase for equipment for Phase 1 of the system, and that amount is for $66,800, which would include equipment upgraded at 3 sites. And again, the simulcast, so you understand, is currently we have, when police department transmits, it is received at 1 site and then retransmitted to dispatch. Simulcast is a redundancy, and it also increases communications, so it picks it up in 2 sites and retransmits it to dispatch.
Thanks, John. Any questions from anyone? Someone want to call a motion?
I'll make a motion to move the simulcast upgrade Phase 1 to the board meeting.
Thanks,
I'll
Cindy.
second it.
Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, Bill. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Roll call for item number 8, trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Blatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 9, discuss police department radio upgrade 9 receiver sites.
All right, thank you again. With the previous approval of items for the upgrade of the system, again, barring the history that we had with the research, we have previously recommended for upgrade of 5 receiver sites with the VHF system, but with the upgrade to simulcast, funding allowed for upgrade of 9 receiver sites, which again would be concurrent with the simulcast upgrade. This is also a phased approach, so we are requesting the board's approval of equipment purchase for $46,404, again for 9 receiver sites with miscellaneous equipment along with those sites. Again, this is equipment-only purchase.
Thanks, John. Any questions from the board? We'll make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Bill. Got a second?
Second.
Thanks, Cindy. Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Roll call for item number 9, trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Blatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Kristen. Item number 10, discuss enterprise fleet management program. Is that you again, John, or?
Yes, sir.
Pat gonna take that one?
All right, as you're aware, annually, the Public Works Department works respectively with our other departments to request replacement vehicles for purchase. With the current situation and the request of village manager to look for concepts to potentially reduce individual costs, one of the items that has been at our door here is the lease program. Enterprise offered a program that is respective to the ability for savings based on a methodology comparable to our scoring system. There are typically 3 different scoring systems that are used. As we research, there's a interval of age, mileage, and repair, where we give you the scoring that you are familiar with. There's also a drive it until it dies approach, which is, again, pretty much self-explanatory in the statement. And then there is a life cycle cost analysis, which is similar to what Enterprise has been offering with their program. It is a lease program. I have invited Mr. Drew Kellogg from Enterprise to give a PowerPoint and get more into details on what the program offers for the village of Tinley Park.
Thank you, everyone, for the time. My name is Drew Kellogg. I work for Enterprise Fleet Management. I'm assuming I just hit this little, okay, perfect. I got a couple slides we'll go through, and then, obviously we'll open it up to questions. Here's just some local references. I know from meeting with village staff and stuff, I know that, you guys have reached out to several of our other municipal partners. What makes this program possible is, obviously we know that inter-purchasing cooperatives are very important in the government space. There's a contract with Sourcewell, which the village is a member of, that that we want to leverage. We competed against other fleet management companies on this Sourcewell contract, and we're deemed a low-cost provider. So that's the program we want to leverage. So what do we want to talk about? So there's a really good opportunity for the village to run your fleet very similar to the way that we do Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So we're the sister company of Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And what I mean by that is turn the fleet over more regularly. So collectively, we both buy vehicles very well. If you've ever rented a car through Enterprise Rent-A-Car, you know that that car is 1, maybe 2 years old, relatively low mileage. So what we want to do is we want to sell that vehicle while it's still worth something, minimize that depreciation expense. And then as we turn the fleet over, you're going to see a reduction in operating costs. So some of the key objectives to this program is cash flow management. So John had mentioned that, yeah, we are recommending a lease program, to the village. When we talk about the term leasing, it really more so just mirrors a finance. The leases that we write, there's no over mileage or wear and tear penalties like you would traditionally find at like a closed-end lease, maybe through a dealership. We want to implement a replacement plan that's going to help drive down operating costs. And then obviously vehicles, are typically some of the first items that get cuts from budgets. So this program allows you, again, to source more vehicles with significantly less cash. So from a funding perspective, the way that the lease works is basically if we take a truck or any type of vehicle, in this example, it's a $26,000 vehicle, we'll put it on a term. That term could be anywhere from 12 to 60 months. At the end of the term, the village will have paid that vehicle down to a reduced book value. So in this example, that unpaid principal is the book value of about $6,500. At the end of the term, the village has some options. So you can either turn that vehicle in and Enterprise will sell that vehicle for you. Any equity that we get above what is the book value or any equity we get out of the vehicle over what you owe is the village's. So you can see in this example, over the course of 60 months, the village will pay that $26,000 vehicle down to $6,400. That vehicle is worth $16,500. That equity or that difference is then the village's. And then what we would recommend is to take that money, roll it into the next truck. Now your next truck isn't $26,000, your next truck is $16,000, to where we start wrapping up some equity into the fleet. So yeah, there's a bunch of different term options. It's all going to be based on replacement recommendation and when it doesn't make the most financial sense to get in and out of a vehicle. Our job and the reason why you hire us is to make those recommendations. At the end of the day, it's still the village's decision on should we replace that vehicle or should we not. We're going to give you all the analytics behind it. So a common question is, hey, this all sounds good, but what does it cost Tinley Park to do business with Enterprise? So instead of going out and paying cash for vehicles out of your general fund or budget, you would lease vehicles through us, and there's a cost to leasing. In the lease charge, there's an interest rate and a management fee. That's our cost of doing business. So the interest rate is based on a 3-year T-bill plus 300 basis points. So currently plus 350 basis points. Currently that's 3.8%. And then our cost to manage the program would be 0.10% of the vehicle cost. So if you have a $25,000 vehicle, it'd be $25 a month on top of that interest expense. And then lastly, anytime we sell a vehicle, which is going to bring me to my next slide, anytime we sell a vehicle to process the title, seller fees, those types of things, we net out $400 of the sale. So at the end of the term, we'll sell these vehicles for you through our remarketing channels. We do a really good job on the resale piece. We have a lot of skin in the game as well because through Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we sell 1 million vehicles per year, and we do it a lot of the times we do it outside of auction. So about 15% will utilize auctions. The other 85% we're selling these vehicles directly back to dealers through our private channels. Why that's important to the village is that if you're auctioning vehicles today through gov auctions or anything like that, we're going to sell vehicles. We're going to sell vehicles at a higher price for the village, and obviously that money is yours. On average, we sell vehicles for about 10% above what they're worth on the wholesale market. From a fuel efficiency standpoint, we're not going to change the way you fuel vehicles or anything like that, but really the opportunity cost is as you turn the fleet over more frequently, there's an opportunity cost to get vehicles that are more fuel efficient. Up on the top right is just an example of a 2012 F-150 versus a 2020. If you look at the fuel economy there, vehicles are getting more fuel efficient. So as you turn the fleet over more regularly, you're going to be implementing vehicles that are going to be more fuel efficient. From a safety standpoint, again, as you're turning the fleet over, vehicles are a lot safer. There's been a lot of advancements as of recently with just collision, forward collision avoidance, backup sensors. So again, you're not only going to, save money from an opportunity cost with fuel, vehicles are going to be more fuel efficient. If you look at a shorter cycle, what it does to your maintenance expense, you think about a vehicle that is going to come out of service that's got, no more than, 50, 60,000 miles on the high end. That vehicle is predominantly under warranty. Really what we want to do is we want to live in the world of preventative maintenance to where all you're really doing is oil changes, maybe tires, maybe brakes, and those things. So this is a fleet profile. So we did a couple different analysis, and this is really the evolution of the discussion. So this is a fleet profile of the light duty fleet. So basically what we did is we did an analysis of about 94 vehicles. The vehicle types are on the left. On the bottom of the big red box is the village's purchase history. And then we profiled all these vehicles out. On average, there's a couple outliers there, but on average, the fleet is about 9 years old. And then basically what we want to do is we're asking for a pilot program, but this next slide is really going to show you, hey, where we want to take the discussion. So this right here is one of the analysis that we looked at. There's a lot of numbers on here, but really the story is if you look at the lease column and then you look at the two equity columns and then the net cash position, what we want to do is we want to implement this program to where you're turning vehicles over more frequently. There's going to be a lot of equity that's coming back in because you're going to be paying these vehicles down quicker than what they actually depreciate. And then we want to turn the fleet over more regularly. So this is basically a 10-year snapshot on the light duty fleet of what we think that's going to net. We've ran quite a few different exercises with village staff. If this program yields 0 maintenance savings and 0 fuel savings, if you look at just based on how many vehicles you buy per year and how long you run them, if we yield no maintenance and no fuel savings, the program still saves about $1.5 million over the course of 10 years. So the next, and Jen, I don't know if they got the most updated one. All right, let's see if it's in here. But there's a spreadsheet with the 8 vehicles we're looking to get started with. You can see the different term recommendations on there, the cost of the program. That's essentially where we want to get started, we understand that we need to earn, our worth and the commitment of the village, but we want to grow this program, over the next couple of years. But we understand that we need to walk before we run.
And as Drew points out, currently this is what we're considering as a pilot program. We didn't want to jump in feet first and try to, wrestle this whole program. So what we did for this pilot program is we took the vehicles that were being recommended for purchase outright, as you see again every year from us with our scoring system. We singled out a majority of the fleet that was considered light duty without being in the situation of being either a pursuit or a response vehicle as with some of the fire vehicles. And we found 8 vehicles that would fall within this category. And, that's essentially what we're looking to have implemented with this pilot program. Again, they fall right in line with the vehicles that we would be requesting purchase. And, the funds are in the current budget. So it's just, instead of purchasing them outright, we're trying to, administer it through this lease program comparably and see exactly how it pans out for us.
Thanks, John. Any questions?
Thank you, John.
How long do you think the trial period is going to last, John?
So each vehicle based on the market, and Drew can expand on, they've got a whole party of people that watch the market and see where return on investment for some of these terms of vehicles. Obviously, for any of you that followed the vehicle market, last year was huge with trucks. Nobody that could go on vacation was buying You know, they're all buying campers and boats and everything, so everybody needed a truck. Last year, you know, made a big turnover on trucks with a lot of the existing customers. But typically, you know, we were looking at 60 months on trucks. We've got a couple other specialty vehicles that may be looking at either 24 or 12 months. But right now, the longest term that is on this trial period is recommended for a 60-month turnover, or at least analysis for if we are going to purchase it or look for a resale.
Okay, and then, I guess, the bigger part of my question is, how would we roll this out to the rest of the fleet, and what would your timelines be there?
So at next year, so we have 2 vehicles that are in queue for a 12-month turnaround. So we would be looking at next year, how that works with the market and how the math starts to look. And at that point, we would make a recommendation on if we are going to expand the program, keep it status quo, or buy them outright and eliminate the program.
Gotcha.
Could I jump in real quick too? A lot of times, you know, we start this way with different municipalities, and then it's usually just through attrition, right? So when you partner with us, we have account managers that are gonna analyze your fleet every single year, and then their job is to make the recommendations, you know, and if the program's a success, then, you know, obviously we'll bring it back to the board to, you know, get more commitment. So.
Do you guys, do you run a hybrid model with some municipalities? Because I know we've talked to several different municipalities about this. Is it some municipalities going with a portion of their fleet as opposed to the whole fleet? Or, I mean, or is it, once we go down this road, is it gonna be, is the cost benefit gonna be to kind of roll the whole fleet into this, or is it?
Yeah.
Do you see the whole fleet going this way, or do some municipalities stick with a hybrid?
Yeah, I think eventually we get to the entire fleet. Our retention rate in the government space is very high. It's over 98%. But honestly, it really just depends on the municipality we're working with. Some of them jump in with 2 feet. Some of them come in with more of a pilot program. You know, it really just kind of depends on what the comfort level is of, you know, of the village. But, yeah, the intent though would be, you know, hey, let's keep on enterprise, let's keep on proving our worth, keep on driving down costs. We have a lot of great tools that can demonstrate that and present that to the board, you know, with the anticipation that, yeah, we're not just gonna, you know, have these 8 vehicles. Eventually we want to manage.
Yeah, right. But I guess my point is, I mean, you guys won't be able to provide all of our vehicles. I mean, as far as, you know, certainly the heavier ones and the bigger machines and whatnot. So I just, that was kind of my question. Another question I have is on the insurance side. Is it, how does this affect I mean, is it pretty much self-insured, or do you guys have any requirements of us for, insurance program?
There are some insurance requirements. They're pretty standard. You know, you really just insure the vehicles. You know, the village is in a pretty good financial spot to where, I don't know if the village is self-insured or whatnot, but they're, you know, it's pretty standard. You would essentially insure these vehicles the same way that you do today.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we'd still go through IC.
Mhm. I just wasn't sure if if you guys required anything else.
Yeah, I don't foresee it being an issue with the village.
Okay.
No. Or at least what our minimum requirements would be.
And then last item is, this is obviously gonna cost us more with our graphics, correct? I mean, we'd have to be detailing these cars every couple of years, so I think, is that something you guys see, you know, Pat or John, do you guys see that as a?
Well, some will be detailed and some won't.
Okay.
So it'll be.
I mean, I'm talking about like our squad cars, we'd have to
A
be.
lot of, like, the stuff will be wrapped into the price of the vehicle too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, correct. So even with that, like with upfit and decals and stuff, because you're not going out and paying cash, you're not really fully absorbing that full cost of that detail, because a lot of those items will get capped into the lease.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So being a pilot, you'll be able to compare maintenance costs, right, John? Is that your
Correct.
plan is, like, to
Correct.
see the vehicles you have, what they cost this, and then the new vehicles, how much better they're gonna be, it sounds like, because they're brand new?
That is one of the big intents, and as Drew mentioned earlier, even if, you know, we had a net zero maintenance adjustment, it still shows savings, but for us in Public Works, you know, we were looking at, you know, absorbing some of the deficiencies we have in our program right now by offsetting them with the, as you said, you know, the maintenance costs. Because, you know, a lot of items obviously are going to be warranty with brand-new vehicles. And, you know, other than oil changes and maybe, you know, a tire rotation or a brake job on any of these, it's most of the other large scale items we're dealing with now with our fleet. I mean, proof and concept, I walked in the mechanic's office today and they've got a transmission dropped out of a squad car. Those types of items should be, you know, covered under the program warranty versus us having to spend a lot of time with our fleet department dealing with them. And then, like I said, it's my intent to have them defer to other maintenance items that they're not doing currently.
In this analysis, the average mileage, I'm just looking at it right there up in the top, is about 5,900 miles with these 90 or so vehicles we analyzed. On average, you know, the village currently cycles those vehicles out every 11 to 12 years. We're gonna move that cycle down to 2.8 years. So you figure going about 6,000 miles per year, say we're running them for 3 years, a lot of these vehicles are gonna be coming out of service at like 18,000 miles. So they're still gonna be worth a ton of money on the back end, and they're still gonna be under warranty, and your preventative maintenance is really all you're gonna be performing on these vehicles.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Dave, have we talked to other municipalities that have this in place already?
Yes, we, John and I and Hannah did talk to several communities in the area, several of the ones that were up on that list. And so I personally talked to Oak Brook. They've actually used the program quite extensively and have used some of the savings to help in other areas. So they were very happy with it.
And I reached out to a couple in and out of state. Enterprise was kind enough to give us a list of all of the local area, actually Chicagoland towns. I mean, and as you can see from the small print, I mean, the list is extensive. One of the ones that Dave and I were out in Village of Oaklawn, I reached out to their, their assistant director out there, spoke to a community outside of Illinois that did a pilot version of this, talked to their director. Everybody that I've spoken with that has, pulled the trigger to implement the program is extremely happy in how well it's ran and the turnover rate and how well it, helps with the management of the fleet in its entirety.
Thanks, Tom.
Anybody else?
Just want to add clarification. Trustee Brennan was talking about the details outside of the car, you know, the graphics and our seal and so on and so forth. Does that include the stereo, I'm all right, the computer, the lights, the siren, et cetera, in these various vehicles?
Yes, so a lot of that equipment can get capped into these units. On the patrol side and like on the fire side, the two items that we don't cap into the lease are computers and radios. The reason why is they just don't add any value to the vehicle. But a lot of times as we're swapping vehicles out, you're using an existing computer and an existing radio, and then it's really just a quick install. So, yeah, so.
Lights as well?
Lights as well, strobes, decals, if we do patrol units, cages, gun racks, I mean, pretty much everything, minus the computer and the radio.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year for the pilot program, we're not looking at adding the pursuit vehicles to it. But, I've dug into that with Enterprise, and majority of their recommendations for replacements are at 5 years or less. So you are getting a life cycle out of the technology of it. And then one advantage we have in Tinley Park is the company across from the Public Works Garage, PDS, is in contract with Enterprise. So they'll be doing the swap outs of, the technology on the vehicle. So it helps, expedite that process also if we do get into that realm.
Okay, thank you.
Someone like to make a motion?
What's the motion for, what's the direction to put on the board meeting? or
Requesting
what?
a motion to put it on the following board meeting.
Oh, next week?
I'm sorry, the board meeting tonight.
Oh, that is this evening, okay. Sorry, thanks for clarifying. I didn't see it on there.
I'll make a motion. Be a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11. discuss 2021 pavement management program, PMP.
So, this is our annual pavement management program resurfacing. I am gonna ask, Van from Robinson Engineering to come up, and discuss this with the board.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
Haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you.
I know.
This year's pavement management program is similar to programs that we've done in the past years. This year, we're proposing to resurface approximately 4.8 miles of roadway. There has been a lot of discussion about the budget. In fact, I understand that our resolution amount did change from the time I submitted it for packets. I think we had it at 3 million, and I've been told that it has been increased to 3.1. So I brought revised paperwork with me if you decide that is where you want to go with it. But besides that, I think you have the list of streets that we've picked and the map, and I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Anybody? I'll make a motion. Have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you call the roll, please?
Roll call for item number 11, trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thanks, Van.
Thank you.
Thank you, Van.
Item
Thank you,
number
Van.
12,
Thank you.
discuss 2021 sidewalk and curb replacement program.
And again, this is another annual, contract extension. This is, our third and final with, under the, sidewalk and curb repair, contract with J&J Newell. They have worked with us for the last 2 years, maintaining construction and sidewalks, and, been found to be favorable. We are asking for the final extension, in the dollar amount of, $197,647.50 with the 2.5 annual increase. This year's amount will be $202,588.69. Requesting for committee and board approval.
Thanks, Ed. Any questions?
I have a question.
ahead,
Just
Jan.
on, does the same company handle the grass and the replacement of everything else after they do put in the new sidewalks and the new curbs?
It's under their contract requirements, but typically a concrete contractor isn't gonna be doing landscape, so they have a subcontractor. I know last year, they ran into some issues with their subcontractor, and we have been very adamant with chasing up on some of the areas that were not restored to our bar. And I will assure you, based on the question, I assume it's based on some issues that you have seen. And Robinson and Colby have been chasing them down, so they're promising us that they do have a new, more responsive subcontractor to repair not only what was not finished correctly last year, but for this upcoming scope.
So is it their job to go out and inspect after the work is done, or is it someone in our village that does that?
Yes.
Both?
It is part of their job to make sure that their subcontractors are meeting the bar, but we also have, again, Colby and Robinson also follow up with making sure that everything is done to our, satisfactory level.
And can we hold a payment or something to make sure that they're doing that? I mean,
Yep,
to be
that is
honest,
the
I
point of
get
retainage.
tons of these people, who stop me for that exact issue.
That is the point of retainage. We keep that to make sure all of their installations meet our level. And then again, with a contract like this, obviously J&J Newell's gonna wanna, meet our needs in year 2 of 3, otherwise they know that they're not gonna get approved for year 3.
Thanks, John.
I'll make a motion. Have a second?
I'll second
Second.
the motion.
Thank you, Cindy. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 13, discuss annual maintenance and inspection of village facilities HVAC unit contracts. John?
Thank you, sir. This is a renewal of an existing service contract. We have been working with Murphy and Miller of Chicago for the last 11 years. They have assisted us with the inspection of our systems. We've got 7 facilities, 36 units. They also do routine preventative maintenance and inspections, which include equipment controls, 2 for air conditioning and heating, and then every startup and shutdown between heating and air conditioning, they help with that and additional with filter changeouts. The budgeted amount was $25,824, and we came in under budget of $14.35.
Thanks, John. Any questions?
Keep this room cold.
I'll make a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You call the roll, please.
Roll call for item 13, trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Kristen. Item 14, discuss annual maintenance and inspection of village facilities, building automation systems. John?
Thank you. In parallel to the equipment maintenance, we have our maintenance contract for the controls and building automation systems. Total Automation Concepts of ALSUP have worked with us over the past 11 years. All of their work has been satisfactory. They inspect all field devices, controllers, and network elements out of 7 facilities, and then assist with routine preventative maintenance and server system updates, which includes 4 inspections annually, calibration, control repairs. We had a $34,000 budget, and we came in $4,710 under budget.
Thanks, John. Any questions?
I'll make a motion. Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry?
I said I was gonna make a motion for you later.
I'll second. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Roll call for item number 14, trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes. Thank you. That was, trustee Berg was the motion, I second. Motion carries, thank you. Item 15, receive comments from the public for the special committee of the whole. Laura, did we receive anything electronically? No one's calling in? Okay. Would anyone like to address the committee of the whole for any items listed today? I'll make a motion to, let the record reflect there are none. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Got a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Motion to adjourn, trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 7:31 PM.